I literally feel like I've made thousands of videos of why we don't shoot people in the leg. Well, today we're going to see yet another video of why police officers don't shoot people in limbs, legs, hands, arms, you name it. There's a reason why. Let's watch.
They told me to do it, man.
All right, man, do me a favor.
They told me to do it.
I need you to drop what's on your hands right now. Drop the knife.
I didn't want to do it.
I know, Eddie.
Please, I didn't want to do it.
Eddie, I need you to drop the knife now, man.
I need to do it, man.
Eddie, I'm trying to help you out, man.
All right, so before we continue the video, a couple things that I want you guys to realize. This officer is on scene for the suspect who stabbed his mother with a knife, and so now he's trying to talk this guy down, de-escalate, try to get him out of the house. But there's a couple of things that I want you to take note of. Obviously, the officer has the suspect at gunpoint. It's kind of hard to tell, but we're going to zoom in for you, and as we zoom in, I want you guys to see how you can see the officer's hands are shaking and his arms are shaking a little bit. Now, I don't think these are, he's shaking because he's quote unquote scared. I think he's shaking because his adrenaline is up and he knows that at any given moment, he might have to make a split-second decision that could either cost somebody else, Eddie, in this video, his life, or his own life. If Eddie is able to get up on him very, very quickly with that knife. I mean, think about it. Put yourself in that situation. Put yourself in the shoes of the officer here. What would it be like for you if you were trying to talk somebody down that has a knife and just got done stabbing their mother? Now, in a second, you'll be able to see that Eddie is all bloody. Eddie is super bloody, which is, I'm assuming, the blood of his mom. You think this doesn't happen on an everyday basis? It does. As a matter of fact, I actually responded to a call very, very similar to this where Madden stabbed his dad with a samurai sword. So let's continue to watch. Again, take note of how nervous or how much the officer's shaking. Not nervous, but how much he's shaking, and I think it's because of his adrenaline.
Man,
Please.
Eddie, I need you to drop the knife.
They told me to do it.
Knife, now. Put it on the ground, man. Eddie.
They told me to fucking
Hey!
do it.
So here you can see the officer makes a split-second decision. Eddie starts walking up on this officer with a knife, and the officer's like, look, I can't have you come any closer. So he elects to utilize deadly force. It causes him to fall back. It's probably slippery in there as well because there's blood all over the place. So it causes him to fall back. Now the officer shoots, I want to say like 3 or 4 times to incapacitate him and stop the threat. What happens next is what's crazy. Let's continue.
Eddie, drop the knife, man. Drop the knife.
So Eddie starts to get back up. Now, the distance from the officer and Eddie is not that far. So I don't think the officer was missing when he was utilizing that deadly force. But Eddie was still able to start getting up off that ground. And had that officer not shot a couple other times, he probably would have got back up and would have been able to rush the officer. But this is just another prime example of why officers have to make sure they shoot to stop the threat, not shooting people just to, shoot them in the leg and hope that they're going to fall down, or shoot them in the arm in hopes that it's going to stop the threat. When people are strung up on adrenaline or even drugs, which it's a high likelihood that this suspect was probably spun up on drugs, the way he's talking, just his ability to get up and not feel some of the pain, there's a high likelihood that that was possible. This is why it's so incumbent upon officers to shoot and stop threats and not necessarily shoot to, just incapacitate people. We put people in switch scenarios like this, and when their adrenaline gets going, oh my god, and they know it, even though they know it's fake, their heart is beating 1,000 times a minute. So imagine what it's like as the officer in a real scenario like this, and this is real situations where you know that one wrong move can cost you everything.